Hi guys, welcome to this week's installment of the Vontolken Diaries. This last week has been good, but really busy. I've had a couple of law assignments due. I've got a couple due next week. I've caught up with a whole lot of friends who I haven't seen in ages, which has been lovely. I've been doing my website, been trying to finish off the first certificate of my PT studies, so I've had a lot going on, but totally no complaints because I'm still feeling so incredibly pleased with where I am and what I'm doing. So it's been really good. This week I want to talk to you guys about creativity versus intellectuality. So the reason I want to speak to you guys about this today is because growing up, I always felt like these two things were completely separate. I was always very good as a kid as an academic. I was good at maths, I was good at science, I was all round in schooling. I was very good at it. And yet there was this other side of me that loved to sing and loved to perform and loved to dance. But something within me always said to me that the kind of intellectual side of me was far too prominent for me to be able to ever really be a creative. And I think this came from a couple of different things. I think this came from stereotypes. I, for whatever reason, as a kid, had the stereotype in my head of what kind of a nerd was, and I was that hands down. Like I used to play Scrabble against myself so I could learn new words, and I would do maths problems from my textbooks in my spare time to relax. It's just what I did. And because of that, I felt like that was who I was. And I wasn't this creative person who could let loose more and be free with their emotions and all of that. I was much more the academic person. The second reason is actually the bigger reason. And it took a lot of thinking over the last little while to get to this point of understanding, or at least I think I'm understanding now, what it was more about. And that was to be a creative person, to really feel like you're being a creative person, you have to feel it in your core. You have to feel it like you are giving you're being honest and you're giving emotion and truth and being raw and all of that type of thing. And as a kid, as a teenager really, that is when I started to really shut down and to really suppress my emotions and suppress my personality and who I was in order just to survive. I did that for, like I say, for like 15 years, longer, in order to make it through each day. And at the same time, I had this side of me that still loved to do maths puzzles and still loved science and studying and learning and all that type of thing. So I then went, well, that must be me. That has to be who I am. And yet, I realized recently that subconsciously it was telling me the whole time, but I realized recently that the reason I ended up doing a drama degree rather than going into law back in the day or studying like maths or anything like that was because the entire time, even though I would fall back on the academic side of things, I had this passion within me. I had from my core a desire to be that performer, to be that creative. And to a lot of people, they would say, well, that's what you always said you wanted to do. But within me, I always told myself that I was never going to be that because of this other side of me. And that desire, that passion, was never there for the maths and the science and the intellectual stuff. That was always just a hobby. I get joy out of that when I'm doing it to relieve some tension or something. It's never what I wanted to pursue and what was going to fulfill me in my life's work. It was always going to be the acting and the singing and the creative stuff. But that, again, I only really realized recently. with that as well, maths is very black and white. It's very black and white. Well, and that's what I loved about it for a long time, because I didn't have to put my emotion into it like I would have had to put my emotion into the creative stuff. I didn't have to put my personality into it. I could just do it, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything else that was going on in my life, because it took me out of life. Whereas the acting and stuff, you're meant to draw from your life, and when I wouldn't be doing that, I'd be relying on like stereotypes and cliches and all that type of thing, and I just didn't feel like I was, like I say, I wasn't creating anything there. So the reason I wanted to mention this and talk about this was because I feel like there must be some people out there who are having creative urges but are unable to really fulfill them for whatever reason. And so I say to you that no matter who you are, no matter whatever your other personality traits that might be telling you that you can't be creative, that you're not creative, you can be, and you should just follow those urges and do it. This is why I'm doing these videos, and this is why I'm doing the website, and everything I'm doing now is because I just had that voice in me that said, yeah, just do it. There is something in you that you have to do this, otherwise you're always going to feel dissatisfied. Always. So do it. If it comes from your core, it is true. And what creativity is about is being honest and being true. And we need unique and honest voices. So I hope that makes sense and that resonates with someone. I also just want to say that I fully understand now that the intellectuality and kind of, no matter how academic you are, can always mix really well into the creative side of you, and it doesn't have to dull anything. You can, whoever you are, that is who you should be. That sounded ridiculous, but I hope you know what I mean. I hope you're all well. I hope you have a great week. And I just also wanted to say that with this kind of creative and intellectual battle thing, I want to start doing a few more creative videos on this channel. So this obviously is kind of my more meaningful stuff and the stuff that I really want to resonate with people. But I also want to do some fun stuff. I'm not exactly sure what that means or when I'm going to find time to do it. But stay tuned, and hopefully you find as much that as fun as you find this meaningful. So I hope you have a great week, everyone, and I should see you early next week because I feel like this one's been a little late. So see you then. Have a great week. Bye for now.